What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 68 of Level Up. This is my Diablo 3 review for the most anticipated, the most selling PC game on the market. This action RPG dungeon crawler has broke records at 6.4 million sales and climbing. Very impressive, but does it live up to all the hype? That is what you guys are probably wondering, so we will jump right in and see. And this is based off of probably about 20 plus hours of gameplay, off of completing the entire storyline on normal difficulty and partially on nightmare difficulty. So I have a good basis to talk about. Also, I have a lot of different characters as well. As you guys can see here, I have a level 2 Demon Hunter, 3 Barbarian, 3 Monk, 3 Demon Hunter, 4 Demon Hunter. So I played a little bit. I actually deleted a level 14 Demon Hunter for whatever reason. If you guys are wondering why there's so many different Demon Hunters, because there's so much variation with the skills and so much variation with the gear, as well as the fact that there's different types of difficulty. There's hard mode, hardcore mode, stuff like that as well. So I had to sacrifice having multiple characters in order to play those. Plus, I just decided to make a lot of different Demon Hunters because they're freaking awesome. And I actually want a level 1, actually. So that is all my bases that I'll be going off of. So let's go ahead and select this hero, which is my level 32 wizard, and jump right into the game. And let's hopefully get in here without any performance issues whatsoever. So we're going to start out here. Tyrell's right here, being a badass that he is. Basically, black guy with ginormous sword, speaks like a boss, acts like a boss, and gave up his immortality to save us humans. Us little people. So let's go ahead and start off with the crafting of the game. And in order for me to do so, I have to tell you guys a little bit about it. Now, I've done a little bit of crafting here and there. Not too much, though. I really don't see any benefit from it, considering a lot of the gear that I get from crafting isn't as good as what I already have. As you guys can see here, I'm in full rares, like a bouse. But mainly what you do with blacksmithing is you salvage blues and up, basically blues, yellows, and all basically everything up there. You can't salvage these. They're not good enough for the salvaging that you'll be experiencing. So you salvage them. You can get shimmering essence, subtle essence, fallen teeth, lizard eyes, stuff like that. As well as when you're venturing through the world, you can get pages of blacksmithing and pages of jewel crafting to advance your overall crafting level. And you also have to combine that with gold, and you're good to go on to the next level. So that's really cool how they did that. It's a very simplistic crafting style. I'll go ahead and show you guys the jewel crafting as well. But overall, it's a very decent crafting style, very simplistic. Nothing that is too big nor too small. It is good enough for the game called Diablo 3. So that is my little crafting overview. Let's talk about skills as well. That way I could go on to a general, more overview-ish basis for this review. So the skill system in this game is very cool. It's a very complex skill system that basically requires a lot of thought. As I showed in the last video, you get multiple amounts of skills to put into each slot, as well as a multiple amount of skill runes to vary those skills even further. And basically what it allows you to do is make whatever character you want to be. And that is really, really cool how they allow you to do that and allow you to vary your play that much. So my wizard can become a defensive wizard. It could become a support wizard. It could become whatever type of wizard I want it to be, just by simply looking at the skill system. Now there's a ton of different slots, as you guys could tell. All your different skills. You have your primaries, your secondaries, all your action bar skills, and then you have your passive skills as well, which vary your character even more. Because you have 3 different passive skills that you can use, and you have to assign them based off of what you want to be. So basically what that creates is a very, very, very complex system that allows you to make whatever character you want to be. So let's move on to the main section of this review. Basically the story, the gameplay, which I guess the skill system sort of goes into the gameplay, but I wasn't going to show you guys that in the heat of battle. That would be kind of foolish. So we're going to be talking about the story first, then the gameplay, and then my overall impressions. Now, story is going to cover atmosphere, it's going to cover sound, it's going to cover the story, and the graphics as well. So let's go ahead and start off with the main story of the game. What is the main story? Basically, the main story is demons attack the world. You have to save it, kill Diablo, and end basically the rapage that is the Earth getting attacked by Diablo. So that is pretty cool. I really like how they basically take the rest of the Diablo franchise and sort of say, let's just copy paste this, add a little bit more into it, add a little bit more of inner dialogue, inner storyline to make this a little bit different than the last two, but overall keep the same premise. Kill Diablo. Diablo has to die. So that's really cool. I really like how they kept it simple, because this game really wasn't really, I guess you could say, prominent of its story. It was more of a prominent action RPG dungeon crawler, and that's really what drove it to be as popular as it is. And they really play off nostalgia with the storyline, and the storyline really is simple enough to say that the whole game is based off of nostalgia. And that's kind of sad. I really wish they would have done a lot more with the storyline, varied up a little bit, added a little bit more into it, added a little bit more twists, turns, sort of jaw-dropping moments. But overall, it's just, oh, well, you just killed Diablo, and you just killed Diablo. That's very fun. Now, what about the voice acting? You guys are hearing voice acting in the background. Sorry I'm talking over that. I don't want to spoil any of this, because this is Act 3. Shit could get spoiled really fast, so I really don't want it to be spoiled for you guys. But basically, the voice acting in this game, Act 1, if I were to review basically the first half of the game, Act 1 and Act 2, I would say it's garbage. It doesn't fit the tone of the game, doesn't fit the seriousness of the game, and it just seems like it's too corny for its own good. But if I were to rate it off of the overall experience, where it heats up, gets a lot better as far as tone goes later on in the story in Acts 3 and 4, and then, you know, just bury that, it's a decent voice acting experience. Now, I do wish that they wouldn't have sort of told it in a fairy tale sort of way on the first two acts, but honestly, it doesn't really hurt it that much, because the voice acting is good at times and it's bad at times all the way through. Even in Act 3, I'm like, why the hell did they even hire this voice actor? He sounds like a B-movie corny mess. And it's kind of sad that they did that. I wish they would have hired better voice actors, or at least tried to encourage the voice actors they have to be better, because really what you end up seeing is a corny mess at times and a very serious, on-point voice acting experience at others. So that really creates a sort of confusing, I guess you could say, mess of voice acting, and that's kind of sad to see, because it really screws the atmosphere, because the atmosphere being the sound design, the graphics, and just overall experience of the game, and the feeling that you get while you move through the levels, it really sort of turns from a serious note to a playful note every time you talk to an NPC. And that, it shouldn't happen that way. This game is a very serious game. Demons are taking over the world, guts and blood everywhere, people die left and right. If you think that's fun and enjoyable to see, then you probably are a psychopath that needs to go into a psycho ward. Because honestly, you should feel a little bit of depressingness with this game. You should be able to feel a little bit for the characters as you move through it. You should, you know, realize that, hey, this is a serious game. You know, we're trying to save the world here. Not, oh, well, we're just going through Dora the Explorer's playhouse, having a good time, slaughtering things and ripping people to shreds. Because that's what we do in real life. We rip people to shreds and have a good time about it. That's what I feel like when I'm walking through this game, and it's kind of weird and confusing for an atmosphere to have. So that's one of the things that really is confusing. The atmosphere in this game is highly confusing for an average player to go through, in my opinion. And it doesn't really go on point with the sound design, the voice acting. The voice acting and sound design is almost like, considering both is so different, one's like playful, the other is serious. It's almost like a guy is trying to drive two cars at one time, and you got to realize this would have to be a European car and an American car for this to happen. But it almost feels like he's trying to drive two cars at one time, keeping them in two separate lanes, and he's just spread apart. Imagine a guy spread apart between two cars trying to drive them. That's what this game's atmosphere feels like. It feels like it's kind of confused. It doesn't really know what it's trying to do, and that overall sets a very weird tone for the entire game. So that overall is what I think about the story aspect of the game, the atmosphere, the sound design, all that. The soundtrack to this game is amazing. Not much needs to be said about that. But let's go on to the graphic style of the story. Does the story fit the graphics? Does the graphics fit the story? And the answer to that is sometimes. Right now, you guys are seeing Act 3. Probably, if not my most favorite part of this game, because this game heats up around Act 3. It gets really fun and exciting around Act 3, and it shows in the graphic style of the game. The music gets very serious, it gets very action-packed and enjoyable, and it really just sets the tone for the graphics that you're seeing. However, in the first part of the game, in Act 1 mainly, you really get to see a shitty graphic style that is grays, browns, this yucky colors that really don't show off what this game could be all about, and really don't show off what Blizzard probably intended with the art style, if they actually took the time to make it what it should have been. Now that's one of the main cons I have with this game, is the graphic style. It's not smooth all the way through, and just realistically, it's not good all the way through. And graphics really aren't a huge deal with a game, but for me, trying to analyze all this together, it just makes it that much harder, because there's so many different weird aspects of this game that are done so poorly, and some aspects done so good, but they're intertwined with each other, so you have to rip them apart and sort of figure out what's good and bad about them. And that's sort of what I feel like about the graphics. Like, there's some good aspects about it, there's some shitty aspects about it, and I really don't know what art direction they're really going for. Like, going for what we're experiencing right now with the war zone. Everything is so serious, everything looks freaking amazing, there's physics going on everywhere. Or are they going for a simplistic, boring tone that is Act 1? So it really makes you wonder what they were going for as far as the art style goes, because it's so different from Act 1 to the final acts of the game. From Act 1, which is very dreary, boring, uneventful, to Act 2, which is in a desert, more bright, more cheerful, to Act 3, which is a war zone. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So that's really what I think about the graphics. I think they're very confusing for a player and as a reviewer to play through this game. And the experience I had was a very unflowing experience. It really was. I'm really not sure why I'm not using any skills for you guys. But it just overall is a very confusing experience for people like myself going through this game, trying to analyze everything I come across. It's a puzzle. It really is. It's like they liked to vary up the graphics. It's understandable, but when you vary up the graphics and it's so like triple-sided, like it's like 3 different style of games, it doesn't make sense to the players or the reviewers that are going to be going through it. So overall, the graphics are very confusing. They change way too much, and just overall, they could have done a hell of a lot better job of intertwining the art styles in Act 3 and 4 into the art style of Act 2 and Act 1 to make this game flow a lot better and be a lot more polished off. Now, as far as the gameplay goes, what we're going to be talking about next, the gameplay of this game is overall a good experience. It really plays off of the last 2 Diablo games with the combat, as you guys could see here, and it also polishes it off a lot more as well. I didn't play the first 2 Diablos that much. I played about 30 minutes of each of them, but I can tell you that this is a lot smoother than both of those games. You can actually stutter step quite nicely in this game versus Torchlight 2, where you can barely stutter step. And it allows you to have a very good action-packed sort of experience as far as the combat goes all the way through, which is very, very good. It's something that you need to have in a dungeon crawler. So I feel that the combat in this game is what carries it, along with the skills as well. However, the game is very, very unbalanced at the moment. They actually did release a new nerf. Not really sure exactly what the balancing is as of right now, but I'm pretty sure it's still as OP as it was before, because the last time I was in a group with my friend Dave, I sat back here trying to collect loot, and he was just killing everything. That's how fast he was able to kill stuff. For me, you guys could see, obviously I'm a little out-leveled for this area, because this is normal difficulty, and I'm level 32, but it still takes me some time to kill stuff, where he would just rampage through everything. I would not be able to even catch up to the damn guy, and it ruins your experience to have unbalancing classes in a game if you're playing as a group in a party like you should be. That's what this game's all about, is grouping with your friends, having a good time, and enjoying a few laughs, enjoying a few epic moments, and just having a good time going through dungeons. That's another thing I want to talk about, is the dungeons of this game. Now, a lot of people who have been very mean to this game have said that the dungeons are horrible. This is not a dungeon crawler, la-di-da, la-di-da. And I have to agree with them in a sense. This game is a dungeon crawler. There is dungeons in it. However, there could be more. For a game to call itself a dungeon crawler, you should have a lot of dungeons in it. However, the whole entire Act number 3 is not a dungeon. You're pretty much on top of a castle trying to get to the end, trying to face Diablo and save the world. That's not a dungeon. You're in the open world. Kind of feels like a dungeon at times, but realistically, you're not in a dungeon. The first 2 acts have dungeons in them. However, not enough dungeons. You come across more cellars than you do dungeons, and that's mainly what you see different from each of your playthroughs. I've only seen really one major change my second time through, because I've went through this game multiple times with friends on different characters and stuff like that. One that I deleted, I don't know why I deleted my Demon Hunter for, but anyways, I played with my Demon Hunter through one time and noticed a dungeon I didn't see before, and I discovered every different area, so I was like, oh, that's cool. But mainly all I saw was cellars, all just random cellars that I didn't see before, that weren't there before. And it really made me question, because these cellars take like 2 minutes to go through. You kill the boss in there, the boss is really easy, and then you collect your loot and it's good, you know, it's done deal. But what Torchlight 2 does better than this game, which is something that I feel that people actually have a valid statement about this game, is the fact that Torchlight at least varies dungeons up. There's different dungeons every time you go through, and it creates an overall great experience. But like I mentioned before, there's not enough dungeons. It almost seems like there's more cellars than dungeons in this game, and it's quite sad, to be honest, because this game could have so much more going for it as you go through it, and it's so many more hours of gameplay that you could explore and have fun with your friends. But this seems half-assed all the way through, and it doesn't really intrigue you all the way through as far as dungeon crawling goes. So dungeon crawling in this game is not really dungeon crawling. You really get a couple dungeons here and there, but really not enough to really call it a true dungeon crawler, in my opinion. So overall, what is this game all about? Is it buyable? Should I buy it? Should you guys buy it? Is it worth $60? Is it not worth $60? That ties us into the whole server debate. Now, a lot of people got to see Error 37 on launch. Basically, you weren't allowed to log into the servers because the servers were not working. That is something that is a big issue with this game, is the errors with the fully online game that is Diablo 3. As of right now, you lag a ton. The performance is not as good as it should be because you lose packets as you go through the game because the servers are not responding properly, for one. And just overall, the game is, the performance of it is god awful. People are getting their accounts hacked left and right for joining public games, so that feature's not even available. There's no PvP yet, so that's not even available as advertised. And that's just a main thing that is wrong with Diablo. It's almost like they half-assed it so much that we're in beta right now trying to fix their server bugs because they didn't decide to test this before and try to optimize it. And that is the main reason why I would tell you not to buy this game yet, because it's so unoptimized. It even makes me not want to play it sometimes. I'll log into the game and see, oh, there's maintenance for 6 hours. I can't play a game that I bought for $60 that I'm not paying a subscription for, that shouldn't be fully online to begin with, because Blizzard decided, oh, we want 5 more sales, and we don't want people to pirate our game. Guaranteed the sales would be the same if they made it offline. Guaranteed. You can back me up. You can back up any argument with that, and I guarantee you, no one will think you're crazy for it. So instead of making it easier for players, they made it harder for players to play a game that they bought, that 6.4 million people bought, and it ended up being a clusterfuck of stupid. And that's basically what I would label Blizzard Entertainment. I hate to say it, because they used to be a great company, but they're a clusterfuck of stupid ever since they joined Activision or merged with Activision. And that's sad. It really is sad. And that's the reason why I can't recommend this game to anyone, because it's so unfinished. It's so unpolished. The servers are god-awful. Good luck if you can even log into the game half the time. And it's just, it's so unpolished. And I say wait a couple months for this game, and then it will be good. Sort of like what Skyrim was like for some people. Wait a couple months, and you'll be good to go. And you should be able to be fine with the servers. The servers should be optimized by then. And if they're not optimized by then, you can guarantee I'm going to make a video about it. And that's one of the things I've been trying to hold off about, is making a video stating how stupid Blizzard is for wrecking their franchise in Diablo by basically having a bunch of server issues. So overall, should you guys buy this game? Not right now. You guys should not even think about buying this game, because the server issues are too in the plenty for you to enjoy this game as it should be enjoyed. So anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed my Diablo 3. I know it had a bunch of negatives in it, especially at the end, but I think overall this game is a good game. It is. Without all the issues that I just talked about, it would be a good game that I would fully recommend anyone to buy. I personally bought the Collector's Edition. I kind of feel ripped off now because of it, but then I look ahead and I realize, oh, well, this game will be a little bit better once the PvP is released, once the servers are finally up and running properly. So I've been sort of thinking that I got a good value out of this game, but in the sense, I'm also thinking I got screwed over, because the game should not release as unfinished, unpolished, and just the servers crashing as much as they have. A game should not release like that. I don't think anyone could disagree with me about that. A game should not release in the state that Diablo 3 released in. So anyways, guys, that is it for me. That has been my Diablo 3 review. If you guys want to see more Diablo, basically hit the like button. The more likes this video gets will give me more incentive to make more Diablo 3 videos, such as extended gameplays and a playthrough. So anyways, guys, that is it for me. Follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/Lugo Entertainment and twitter.com/ZachSharps. But we have this review, Diablo 3, the most anticipated 6.4 million copies sold game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, hit the like button if you did. But as always, guys, I'm Zach Sharps, and catch you guys next time.